Good morning from New York. Today, what it means to sing and speak in the Spirit, the evolution of language, meditators, and the progressive mind. Well, I love singing in the Spirit. It can't, that the music you produce can't be copyrighted. And, well, it'd be jumping through a lot of hoops to do that. But it's unlikely to have a copyright when you're producing it. Same with a musical instrument, which I want to bring on the channel soon. A little you know impromptu kind of expression of some musical value, and yeah, wardrobe. You know, not a lot of money here. Anyway, singing and speaking in the Spirit. Well, the Spirit of what? See, you didn't. Did you think to ask that question? In the spirit of what? Love. Singing, and but that doesn't necessarily mean, love is giving and receiving. And you have to have a feeling awareness of, what's going on. Have an experience of the drama in your life, just to stay in touch with reality. But yeah, that is a kind of a display of both emotional feeling, which comes from human need, and love, which is the callback, the answer to that need. You can hear it in the calf calling to the cow, and the mama cow calling to the calf. So it's a love flow, Got to have feeling awareness, or you're too out of touch to know what love is. Got to be in touch with your real needs, not artificial needs, not needs that are just symbolic of real need, like money. You can never have enough money because it doesn't meet there's no satiation point. And if money became your escape from painful deprivations, wow, bottomless pit, right? You want power and you want money, and the world seems to spin around a lot of people who want that. Makes democracy very hard to keep together. Democracy is the place, places where they have democracy have human rights. Talk about your freedom, your human rights, Well, that's in a democracy. You might have all kinds of beneficial things. There's no freedom. There's no real love. But you got to hear all the voices. And when I in the practice I use, I go from speaking in the spirit of love and or need, the spirit of the love flow, I guess I should say, or into singing the sounds that I've created. The whole purpose of that is to get outside of language and ego concepts and all of that, which meditators do. If you're a meditator, you have a progressive mind, very likely, because you reflect, you look within. So this channel is for you. And for any who want to go there, there's all kinds of benefits, health-wise and everything else, to meditation. But it's meditation is part of depending on how broadly you define meditation, is part of the whole process that might be called inner mind communication. That role play is another thing that this channel is about. Combination of practices of role play and well, forms of meditation. If you take a broad look or perspective on it, meaning with meditation that you're going into and experiencing your sensations and your feelings without language. And there's a reflection going on there. And as you do that, it gets you out of the ego. It makes you more open and aware and helps you with empathy. The meditators, you tend to have a progressive mind. You're about human rights. You're about virtues. Where do the virtues come from? From forms of empathy. So, yeah, the evolution of language was from musical expression, which you hear the birds doing in their calls, beautiful calls. And then there's language that developed on top of that. So we had language before we had music, before we had language. Music really works to reach you in a deep way. And it like meditation, forms of meditation can be very good for your health. Forms of role play can be very good with for your communication of in effective ways to meet human need and to communicate with each other in ways that meet, as much as possible, everyone's actual need. But as it goes, there's enough in the world to meet human need, not enough to meet human greed. Human greed is like a black hole of gravity that pulls people in, and we need to avoid it. We need to orbit around it. That's what the literally the universe seems to be doing. They don't fall in, and that is the space where life is, and that's the space where love is. And in the black hole, it's just destruction of everything. Yeah, as we know it, it's the destruction of time itself. Hard to wrap our heads around something. So, what is a progressive mind? A progressive mind is scientific, that is objective, from which we get objective empathy. It's a combination of objectivity and understanding yourself or another person and helping with that objectivity, helping to meet need. Love. All right. Scientists are big with objective empathy, I would think, or tend to be. If they're objective and there's no empathy, then, they're sociopathic, which is another way of being, which is very helpful, for the surgeon to not be able to set aside feelings that they might get, going into somebody's body with a knife. Can't be can't be feeling that. I don't know if you have to be sociopathic to do that, but it could help actually. The world's complex. Yeah, but objectivity is combined with caring is objective empathy, and compassionate empathy, which helps us to have a more expansive kind of capacity to help people connect to and express their needs. Compassion is you can act on it, but with it, how do you do that? You need a little objectivity. You need to know what they need and have a plan, right? But at its core, compassion is the permission to feel, the safety to feel, and that's important. And I'll try to connect that in just a minute to other things. So, as a meditator, you are a mystic. Welcome to the club. And you can use role play and you can use forms of meditation to make your spiritual journey a journey toward a greater love flow, which is by definition spiritual, without extraneous beliefs. You don't have to believe in any mythology in order to do this, but mythologies echo a lot of the things that I talk about. They're interesting. And religion itself, although problematic at times, is a finger more or less pointing to real spirituality or the love flow, pushing laws and force, which doesn't produce genuine virtue. That objective empathy, that is the virtue of truth. That is the basis for it. The virtue of goodness comes from compassion, that sharing of other people's feelings and needs and permission for them to express those needs. And creative empathy, that part of you that is the creator, the imaginer. If I can make up a word, of all you imagine, which I say is the brain. Everything that you experience goes through your brain. You're aware of your experience after the brain has already done its job. So, yeah. And there's a relationship you have with your brain. Your sense of who you are as a relationship of sorts with this higher power, this creator of all you imagine. And in that dance is how you grow, and that creative empathy, which is the strong card of the inner artist in you. This is that ability to create experiences. Now, this connects to meditative approaches and this passion. And the virtue from that is artfulness, the ability to be artful in how you present things, which, of course, ties back to music, to art. And which is actually pre-language. You can add language to it. It's the foundation, baby. And so you love music? Yeah, you probably do. And I think most creatures like a little bit of music. Okay. Now, that relationship with the creator of all you imagine is very important. You hear it echoed in mythologies around the world. I'll let you research that on your own. But yeah, it can poetically. It has a lot of meanings. Your inner artist is um, connecting with it. It's a sacrifice of your limited ego concept, your ability to see yourself in many different ways, and to change and to become different, embrace a new self concept, and to rise above concept. So that is the mystic experience. And so if you're a meditator, you're a mystic, and you probably do meditate, but you're not conscious that you're doing it. There's a lot of elements of meditation that you might be doing that everyone does probably. Um, but to do it with intention, that's entering the path. When you do these things with intention, with understanding, that's the spiritual path. It's not just compassionate, it's wise. It's not just wise and compassionate, it's artful. Right? Now, the forms of meditation that underlie this, you as a meditator, hear me, to express feeling without language, form of meditation, because it's pre-language, part of the infant mind, and it connects to your inner experience of emotion and feeling, but without language. That ability to express feeling is what evolves in social contexts, or has evolved in social contexts, to compassionate empathy, which makes it safe to feel and or to express your feelings. Now, the simple dhyana, like focusing on, it's sometimes called mindfulness, but you're focusing on needs and feelings, just focusing and focus. Now, the other was expression. It evolved in society to in social evolution into compassionate empathy, social interaction between people. Okay. The objectivity comes from where? The ability to focus. So when teacher's trying to teach, that teacher will always say, "Are you paying attention?" That ability to focus is critical and it's what evolved in social circumstances to objectivity, the better understanding of reality, which is expressed between ourselves through language. And this ability to focus developed into this form of empathy called objective. So objective, but it's combines caring, understanding of yourself or another person, empathy. There's another ability that you have, free language, which is the ability to be playful, to be goofy, to just do things with spontaneity. I call that the ability to play. Play is very important in our maturation. And in a social context, that becomes creative empathy, the ability not just play, but to create play. You can play like something's real when you're watching a movie, but your creative empathy, it was creative empathy that created the movie. So these things all interconnect. Each of 6 practices are useful. You, as a mystic, as a meditator, tend to have a progressive mind. That's the last point that I mentioned in the title. A progressive mind means that you're acting on these with these abilities in order to create a better world. To you hear the cries of the world. That's something that the mystic does. It's you don't just stop with self-advancement. You don't stay up on a mountaintop and never come down. You come down and you act like Martin Luther King Jr. or Mahatma Gandhi and any host of other greats, Nelson Mandela. These were great mystics. They had empathy for other people. They had a real connection to human need. They acted on it. They did what they could. And there's a connection there between the empathies and virtue. The virtues again, truth from objective, goodness from compassionate empathy, and artfulness from creative empathy. These all relate to a communication with your language self, which I call your inner child or your kid. I like to use the word kid to separate it from some other concepts, but it's pretty much the same. They this is your dramatic self, in society. This is how you experience life in a language kind of a way. And that's incredibly important. So the points that I mentioned, go back. Let's start from the beginning again. Seeing and speaking in the spirit of love. Well, that involves expression of need and also empathy, a meeting of that need. So that is expression of need without language. Focus on need and feelings. Feelings connect to need. Okay. That's important. So focus and expression. And then there's play. Well, you use the playfulness and an expression of emotion and feeling without language. So that's the speaking of feeling without language, or in a way that negates language. Some people use a chant and they go over and over until the words become meaningless. I don't find that as effective. Doesn't connect easily to the musical adoption. It's very powerful. And you hear people do that and they get into delusions about, okay, this is a language. No evidence for that. Sorry. Maybe at times, well, I won't say it's impossible. It's very unlikely. There's never been any evidence that speaking or making up sounds is going to be the same as some language, which is highly developed evolution of communication. So I just know. Yeah, that's what I mean when I'm saying an objective mystic, somebody with objectivity, for crying out loud, someone who looks at things in a scientific way. Um, hmm. Uranana hidera sedena. Aranandu swale manao dakashiterana. Aramdiriana sareka. Anam sharadanina chitana. Ciao. Arioro karasitia. Amen. Amen. Ah, the express feeling. Oh, this is very useful. The express feeling without, needs without words. Express your inner non-language, non-ego self. And play just showed two forms of play in relationship to feelings and love sometimes. And all through that, there is this focus on your feelings and your emotions. Your feelings and your emotions. In case the mic didn't get that. You focus on that. You express the feeling and you turn it into play. Or you begin with the play, actually, which is a little more comfortable. And then you go into those two techniques into focus and expression of non-language way of needs and feelings. And from that foundation, like you're going through evolution, your maturity from the ground up, you're moving from the infant mind into the inner kid, into the child. And when that happens, then you'll find naturally, in fact, as you do singing and speaking in the spirit, there will be words that come to you. Perhaps an appeal to your higher power brain, your inner artist. An appeal. to to help you rise. And when you're communicating with your inner artist is above your drama, above what you perceive of as time. It's timeless. When the trumpet of the Lord will sound, and time will be no more, and the morning breaks eternal, bright and fair, then the saved on earth will gather over on the other shore. When you're speaking with the inner artist, you're on the other shore. You're getting above the drama. The artist may invite you, come sit with me, take a rest from the drama. In that place with no time, where you're outside of the drama, that's where you can appreciate the whole story of your life and the story of anyone's life with appreciation and enjoyment. So you're kind of in a sort of heaven. Yeah. In a heaven of where you get above all the drama. I mean, this happens in intense situations where people are afraid of losing their life, where they're in enormous pain from a heart attack, or where they're having this near-death experience. What happens is a heavy communication with your inner artist who jumps into gear and gives you a space above the drama, outside of the body, in fact. In some cases, you experience that. There are people who attach paranormal things to this. I don't know. That's up to you, your experience. I've seen or seem to have experienced in these practices a presence, a voice of love that knew people and their lives and what they were thinking, uh, where I didn't. And that voice was expressed by me, and it was uncomfortable. People should find their own way. I don't. That was unpleasant. I don't like the role of a prophet. You know, some cases maybe it's called upon. I don't know, but it's a very uncomfortable thing, and it can get you out of touch with everyday life. I think if you get too much into that, you have to balance all of these things I'm talking about so that you have freedom. Now, freedom from each of these perspectives, freedom to be more effective part of the love flow of your life. And that means a freedom from all of these perspectives, which are a kind of roadmap to inner development. Uh, yeah. So this is where, rather than a near-death experience, this is what happened to me that developed into these understandings, because I talked to my inner artist. I said, "Look here, I don't like this situation, and I'm not perfect, and I don't want to be, in this kind of a situation, because people will just." One lady tried to kiss my hand, and I said, "That wasn't." How do you say this? It wasn't me. you know, it wasn't me. I don't know what that was. It's like you make that up. I don't know what happened here, but I'm glad you felt the love. And yeah, that was weird. So a true mystic does not go for powers. The Buddha talks about this, as you're going to run into this sort of thing. Ignore it. Put it away. What are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that? I mean, it comes, it goes. And, you probably out there had weird experiences you couldn't explain. Well, scientific mind just says, I don't know what happened. I don't, I can't explain it. I can't relate it to anything that makes any sense to me. So oh, well, you explain what you can. A lot of the near-death experience is easily explainable. With the paranormal stuff, well, you don't know what happened. Admit it. You don't know what happened. It might indicate something. What? Be hard to put that into words. And yeah. But connection to the inner artist will put you on a progressive path where, in a poetic sense, could be called hearing the cries of the world, not just your own selfish feelings and, so on, but a connection to others and to their trials. And when you connect in that way, you need to have an escape route. That's your inner artist. I can remember in a church setting where there was a schizophrenic person that was just interrupting everything. He was just babbling. Well, it seemed to me that, he was just overloaded, with, it's like people with emotional problems have joined Emotions Anonymous, emotions are too much, and I'm like, so it just instinctively, I stepped into the artist, and that's where you'll be if you train people in this, if you experience it and you train people, help them to do what's comfortable for them and to fit what there is of this that helps them. As a trainer, as a practicing mystic, in terms of helping other people. Um, well, you're in the role of the artist. Let's back up a little bit. Well, not in time, but because this event that I just began to talk about occurred before this other experience I had where I met Jimmy Carter's little sister, beautiful person. And what she did was she would take what I would call the inner artist into people's lives, so that there was this loving, transcendent figure experiencing their drama with them. She called it Jesus. So she would have Jesus walk downstairs that representing years of their lives and create. In one case, she created an entire experience of innings of baseball with a young man that needed a dad. And she had the inner artist in the role of a dad. Yeah. It's your inner artist that's the real you. It's your brain. Um, all of the roles that I'm talking about, they come from your brain, from your amazing brain, your inner artist, the imaginer of all you imagine, creator of all you. We'll help that word imaginer. One day maybe it'll be accepted in the dictionary. Yeah, but a little unnecessary, I suppose. I just like it. Anyway, um, so before that experience, I the experience with the schizophrenic young man and the in the church service, I stopped, and the inner artist in me spoke and said, and I said, I see you on a mountain high above all your troubles. The rest of your troubles are going up into the sky. And Jesus is there, the inner artist. He puts one arm over your shoulder and says nothing. I said it with hoarse tones of great compassion. And he snapped out of it. He stopped babbling. And he was okay for the rest of the service. Didn't cure him, but it helped him out. Another time, at the instruction of the inner artist, yes, there was a schizophrenic that he would get angry and babble nonsensically and get angry and charge at people. And people were afraid. Some of the brothers went down and tried to help him, praying and so on. And they got frightened, and they came up and said to myself and another at that time, mystic of sorts. You see, you guys got to come down and help. That we can't do this. No, go back, try again. And they came back with the same message. So, so I went down. I sat on a couch, and he would become very angry and charge at me. And I just calmly sat there. He would back away. I said, wow, inner artist, what do I do? What do I do with this? And it came to me like a it's you don't hear voices, but I don't, it's like a message that came through. I said, okay, when you have great compassion for this person and they're calm, look him straight in the eye. But when you lack that compassion, that feeling of compassion, or he's not calm, look to the left or the right of his head. So I did that. It was the right thing to do. After a while, he calmed down, and he was standing. So he comes over and bends over, and he says to me, some people just know how to put pressure in just the right places. And he was okay and walked away. After that, I partnered in this religious crime. Yeah, there's some negative things with religion. I hate to say it. But, it's just a finger pointing to the moon, It's okay. But if you're only good because you're scared not to be, how good is that? You haven't cleaned the inside of the cup, great mystic said. You you clean the outside, you hypocrite. Yeah, you're like whitewashed tombs, he said. On the outside, so beautiful. On the inside, full of dead men's bones. He wasn't pulling any punches. You don't have to be a wimp to be a mystic. Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr. were not wimps, okay? They were very brave. So, and very patient, you know. And the great Martin Luther King Jr. talked about going to the top of a mountain. He was communing with the inner artist outside the drama. And I have a dream. The inner artist, I have a dream. And then he gave this very impacting, loving speech against racism and for love. Great mystic. If you really think about it, and if you care about yourself and others, pause. You too can go to the mountain. It's already there with you. The higher self, the Paramatma, that's the real you. And it has no confining role or perspective. You touch it with music, touch it with language, you touch it with Urunayan Susarem, Aviral Yurasetu, Amin, 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 Amin. Arudukiri show, Nenaha. Yarana, Ingina Sarata Seti Amans. Hallelujah. Ah, Oh, artist, I hear the cries of the world. Lift me to the mountain. Help me see. Come, sit beside me, and I will show you the beauty of all things. Inner counselor, what should I do? Vote Democratic in the United States. Hold your officials to their promises. Be a light to the world. Inner caregiver. Heal me of my lack of faith and love. Ah, see my children. I want the very best for you and for every child in this world. Thank you for the gift of being permitted to care for you. I hope that you can forgive me for not being the best father. No, I wanted to be. Mom, Dad, I know you wanted to be too. And I forgive you. And I love you. That is the entire process. To walk away lifted. It's a centering. It takes effort, and it can be tiring. Don't overdo it. But you understand. I hope you're understanding. Process of the mystic inner mind communication. And if you have ways of using role playing and forms of meditation that help you and help with the love flow, well, tell us about it in the comments on the channel. Subscribe so that you'll see the next videos, and share the videos that you think are worth sharing, so that you feel like. With the highest respect for you, my fellow mystics, I bid you adieu. Till the next time. One of my favorite words that means I see the wonder in you that we're both a part of. It's an expression. It's a statement, a greeting and a goodbye, used in the great land of India. Namaste. I see the wonder in you, the wonder we're all a part of. Join our team. Consider being involved with our Zoom calls, where we plan what we're going to say and say it in the recorded section. But you don't have to be in. You can help in this channel in anonymous ways. And help with your translations into other languages. This is a call to all mystics, to all meditators, those who would be, gather together and help to save our humanity and our world. Namaste.